Alright, this is going to be a quick video. Go over some stuff for MOHO real quick. And I think this one will go to YouTube as well. For anyone on YouTube, this is going to be a part 2 to a video that I do on my platform. So some of the things won't make sense, but I will try to update and post that live interaction to YouTube for you. Cause some of the things you won't be able to follow along with. So make sure. I think I updated the other one. One second. Okay. It'll be 1 second. I just gotta fix some stuff here. Hope everyone's doing good for the holidays, you and your families. Hope everyone is able to have a good Christmas and holiday. Anyone out there shopping last minute? I do understand had to do that myself, which was not good. But probably Amazon will probably be the bulk of all the gifts. I think it's rare that people go to, I don't know, are people still going to malls and stuff like that? See, there's a lot going on here in the States. For the YouTube videos that I'll be doing, I got a little bit busy, so I haven't been posting a lot there. But that was just because I had some things to take care of as far as the holiday stuff. But coming up I'll probably see this week, it'll probably be back to like, a couple videos a week. I'll try to do them every day from what the YouTube platform guy was saying, because I'm trying to build that up. Alright, we're done playing around with this, right? This is scene 5. I gotta remember that stuff. Scene 3, update. What was this one? Yeah, I guess we can finish this real quick too. I guess we could use this for the MOHO. So what I'm gonna do in MOHO, I'm gonna go over some quick animation that you could use where you don't have to have a full rig for setting up a scene for yourself. And other part of it will probably be going over the like a walking scene where you have the background scenery is moving and trying to get that pace correct from your character actually walking, and then you have determining how the background is going to be affected so it's not too fast or too slow. You kind of want to coordinate it with the character that's walking, and it looks weird if the background is moving too slow. You don't make it seem like the character's kind of standing still. And if you are doing a close up, and basically this what this is going to be is a close up, not like a regular walking scene where you see the full character. We're just going to go from the waist up kind of movement, where technically you don't have to do a full rig for it. But what we'll go over is how to get that speed and that timing for a close up of a character walking, either from the front or the back. I think the one I have set up is going to be from the back. I guess we can play around with this one as well. So this scene technically is going to be a drinking wine scene. So the animation is going to be on the liquid in the glass. It's just this one arm here, and then like the top of the body. So basically, what we would be rigging is just basically the upper chest part and the arm, and then just the head will be separated. So we'll do that one as well. I guess this might be a longer video than I thought. I might chop it up, or I might just keep it the same. Depends on how tired I get here. I will get to all the questions that you guys are sending to the email. I think someone's asking me about rig characters and stuff like that. If you need character rigs, I can do that as well, and I can send it by email. Send a file by email. Just the person I was asking about this, just send, all you have to do is send me the head as far as the color, and kind of give a description of what you want the character kind of look like. Or if you have a, like, you've drawn like a still of it, the character, and you want to turn that into a fully rigged character, you can email that email. Use the I would say use the Global Animators Foundation at gmail.com. It's Global Animators Foundation at gmail.com. All ran together, of course. So if you have any requests for that, like building a character, things like that, you can send that there, and we can look at that for you and figure out if we can help you. I only got 2 of those, by the way, so I can't remember the name, but I did look at it. And we are still doing the so for characters, we're still doing looking for a cast of actors. And we'll put a description of all the characters there as well. I think there's like 2 missing from what I remember. So if you think you're good at voice acting and you want to kind of make it a job where you actually get paid, you can send the request in. We'll send you the layout and everything like that, and what we're looking for. You don't have to be SAG approved. If this is the first time you're ever doing anything as far as animating or characters, it'll be an open license for that, because we're still working on a couple ways that we're going to send it out as far as the whole the first part is basically just it's a rough of what we are doing, but it's taking a little bit longer than I thought to get it kind of trailer for it, so we're still working on that. But if you're interested in any of the voice acting, and you don't have to be someone that's done it before. Once everything's done, your name will be in the credits though. And that'll be sent. You'll send that to Global Animators Foundation email if you have any questions about that. And the goal for setting up this, the way that we're going to be doing it, was so that we can have a platform for different animators. Doesn't matter what type, but we wanted to have it like a foundation where we can start setting up these clips and basically have a rundown of 3 different animations that we could have like a reel of, and we'll try to put those out every 3 months, and actually getting people paid for it instead of just doing it. I mean, it is cool to do it for fun and for free, but advertisers, setting up new animators, so it won't be it won't be a showcase. It will be something where if you are chosen, you will get paid for. And then there's different ways that you can do the licensing for it, and we want to set it up to where the licensing, YouTube's changed a couple of things on there, so we might have to change the way we set it up on YouTube, because there some of the new changes they are making on there. It's like some of that stuff they own it, so got to figure that out as well. But that's the goal. The goal is not just to have it on YouTube; it's to have a actual uh, theater placement. And with the new technology, where you can pretty much have a screen set up attached to the computer, that's the kind of thing we're going to be looking at. So it would be a place where you would actually come and you'll be able to explain your animation, a little bit about yourself, how long it took, things like that, and making sure there's a lot of new animators without going to the big 3 or 4 platforms. With the technology, a lot of this you can kind of do everything on your own. So that's the goal. And also to get paid for it. That's the biggest goal. The goal here was to go over some stuff in MOHO, but sometimes I just want to finish this stuff. Appreciate your patience on that. And for YouTube, this is going to go up on the YouTube, so I'll put the some timestamps in there where you don't have to listen to me talk, or you can just go right to the instruction. Instruction is going to be so the first one is going to be the walking cycle, the close-up walking cycle for character, making sure the speed of the background matches the character walking, so where it's not too slow or too fast. And what else was I going over? Short, like puppet tool things that you can do where you're not doing a fully rigged character. You just kind of piece everything together. And then what else? It'll probably come to me later. On my other link, I don't know if this person is joking. I think you keep there's somebody on there that keeps asking me about why I use paint. I think I went over that like 100 times. It's just what I started out using. But yes, I do have the other programs. It's just Adobe. I think they were asking like, why am I not just doing everything in? Because I use Inkscape whenever I do. Um, Once I get everything kind of fixed up in Paint, I put everything into Inkscape. That's just basically what I've always done. And then I vectorize everything. Once I get it vectorized and cleaned up, like this, um, then I will export this, and when I bring it into MOHO, it's a vectorized, cleaner version. But that's how I set it up. If you're using Adobe, anything you're using to draw, uh, it'll probably be a lot faster for you if you're drawing everything inside a vector line, because you won't have to do the uh, import it into Inkscape or import it into Illustrator, because they both have the same tool where you can basically uh, turn your PNG or JPEG. To me would be impossible to kind of get a clean version, um, but so that's what I do. And someone asked me about the setup here, and they were like, well, how are you able to grab this um, like this and then edit, copy, and then edit, paste. Now, someone was telling me if you're not able to do this, it's because of your settings, and there's a couple different files that'll come with a lot of the programs. So if you're using Adobe, or you're using like a newer like platform as far as drawing, or if you're using a pen, most of those files will automatically come with those programs. Let me see if I can open something up real quick here. And let's go to open. Can't remember where they are. I think they're in Windows, and then 32. Yeah, yep. Yeah, 32. So let me see. I think a couple of them start with. I want to say M. Yeah, I think it is M. So if you're not able to kind of grab things from Paint and then shooting it into a different program without having to import it, you should be able to just copy and paste it in there. It's probably because there's files that you need. I think there's 3 of them from what I recall. I don't know why I'm doing this now, but I will put the timestamp in there. Alright, yeah. So basically, you should be looking at application extenders. I think it starts from here. So when you see these files, so MSV, I think it goes all the way down to I want to say MSVC. So basically, check these files here to make sure you have all of these here. And I can't remember if it's this one as well. It might be. But check all of these. So these are all of these files. The one that starts with the MSV. Go through all your phones. So where it says here, you see 120, 140, MS 140. I think most of them say 140. Some of them are 100. But go to the System 32. Go to start with MS. Say about. I think it's this one. But check all of these. Make sure that you have MS VCP 60, 100, 110, 120, 140. This is what allows you to just basically copy from one application to another, and without having to do the other way around. Because technically, you would basically have to, if you wanted to open a file like that, you would have to come here, and then you would have to put click here, import, instead of just copying from Paint here and then pasting it into Inkscape. So the person that was asking me how am I doing that, it's because of those files. A long time ago, when I started messing around with different programs, I learned there's different platforms that have like basically a cross reference. So if you can't, it won't be able to see it if you don't have those files in your Windows thing. And then you can go online and you can ask about copy and pasting it from one platform to the other. But I remember that you basically have to find those files, and then even if you put it in, if you go and search Google, just put those in. Just ask about like it's not JavaScript, it's a different kind of platform, but that's what the person that was asking me how I would just copy and paste all of the pieces. That's why those files will let you do that. So if you don't have those, that's probably what the problem is. If that doesn't work, send me another email and but I remember I had that issue a long time ago. So what was I doing? Finish this here. That was a while ago when I figured that out, though. Most of the time you don't have to worry about that, because once you install most of the programs, they will install those files. But if you're still having an issue, just check check that, starting with that, uh, where I started with the M. Just make sure you have all of those and those are updated. And then you can just copy and paste from one platform to the other without having to import stuff. The first time you asked me about that, I apologize. I didn't understand what you meant. But then when you sent the other email, I understood exactly what that was, because it was frustrating for me. And it's kind of like it will slow you down if you're trying to just basically vectorize everything. So hope that helps. If that doesn't work, shoot me another email, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And the other person, you don't have to vectorize anything. If you want, it depends on what kind of look you want. You want the animation to look like. It's not a requirement. When you see me, bringing one thing into, you don't have to do it that way. I tell everybody the same thing. Whatever you're drawing or however you're putting together your animation, it's going to be about the story. And it doesn't have to be perfect. If you look at a lot of the different series out there, even if you look at South Park, when I first saw it, I was like, what is this, right? It's just circles. But the reason why they're popular is because of the stories. So even if you're doing stick figure, if you go on YouTube, you'll see a lot of people doing stick figure animation, and they have millions of views. So don't ever let anyone, oh, you gotta do it this way. The only reason I'm doing it this way is because I am trying to not, I wouldn't say my job, but trying to get the people, yeah, I would say at my job, the people at my job to kind of back my full feature. And the only way I'm probably gonna get that done, from what they were saying, oh, go on YouTube and just put it on. There's a couple of people that told me the same thing. It's like, I don't have any followers on YouTube. I only have followers on my other platform, and it's mostly for work. So, but I am going to do that. So hopefully, if I'm good at telling the story that I want to tell, everything that I'm doing now will be something, I guess we just put it on the I always say DVD. Put it on the drive, everything that I've done on the YouTube. Oh, on the I don't know if the YouTube person is still person that's supposed to be helping me. I am gonna start posting every day, like you said. Just had some family stuff I had to take care of because of the holidays and people moving around a little bit. So I don't want you to think I ignored when you suggested that I make videos every day. I'm not ignoring that. Just got a couple things going on. So please still help me. Or keep, checking the videos. I got your feedback information on there as well. It's and the questions I have, it's still gonna be the same one. I think I sent you an email that like me putting a series up on YouTube. I want to know if there's any way that I would lose anything that I'm doing on here because I'm putting it up here for free, and I don't want people to be able to later on take it away. And Holly Jolly Christmas. That song is stuck in my head. For the person who's asking me about like drawing book for your for a little kid, um, there's a couple of them, but most of the time I would say go to YouTube. There's a lot of people do videos on like techniques. There are techniques to animation. It's a something that you learn in class. It's like 12 techniques. I can't remember them all. Um, but there are techniques to it, and I mean, I don't know. Let me see if I can remember some of these here. Trying to look up the video that I so the video you can check is it says the 12 principles of animation, and they go over it. Those are the things that there's an online book you can on, I can't remember if it's on, yeah, I think it's on Prime. I think they have like a cheap one, but that's what everyone uses whenever you do start, especially if they're young. If you're doing any kind of like you want to kind of train them in the way of animation, the 12 steps is what the principles are. And there's a couple of YouTube videos on there where it says the 12 principles of animation. There's another one that's 12 steps to your first animation. But those are the things that are like universal. They're principles that were set up by the like Disney, Disney animators a long time ago, and that's if you go to any class or training or anything like that, they will teach that. But I would say this again. Yes, those principles are there. They do apply a lot of the times, but you don't have to stick to those principles to be any kind of animator. They're not going to. There's no well, there is a club for some people, but they're not going to kick you out because you're not doing it a certain way. But if you're trying to get like someone young and they want to, that's something that they're interested in, that would be the one I would say to use. And then also have them draw their um, like whatever they like to draw. You know, have them do that over and over again if you're trying to learn techniques. I would say do that, draw over and over again. And I would say that that helps you with like a lot of different, I would say, techniques as far as getting used to or finding your own style. But that's the stuff that they taught in, like art class or any secondary like art school, things like that. They teach those methods. A lot of it is pretty much always going to be the standard when it comes to drawing character. The most thing I think the most important part in drawing the character is uh, once you get the, for me personally, this is just me. Once you get the eyes correct, everything else follows after that. That's just my opinion. If you're looking at the character and it doesn't seem to have any life, usually that's where the life is going to come from. It's going to come from the eyes. Once you have that kind of packed, I would say, down, everything else becomes a lot easier. And if anyone's ever like sometimes I get these messages, I'm looking at them, I'm like people have a lot of time on their hands. Um, couple of inquiries like when you're writing on there, I'm a grown man drawing for on YouTube cartoons, and I do hear that couple of messages. Like, first of all, why are you watching the video? But the other thing is, yes, that's what happens. When you go to see these Marvel movies, you know what that guy was doing? He was drawing cartoons as a grown man. So if this might just be for anybody. If anyone ever says anything about their opinion on what you're doing as an adult, or like, even if this is a hobby and not a job, it's insane to me for people to say anything. It's just like the gut, and I don't want to. I don't want to be like discouraging in any way, in any form. But if you're lucky enough to do something that you like, and you can make a lot of money doing it, and maybe you have detractors, it's like, why are you drawing, or why are you doing cartoons, or whatever it is, right? I get it. You know, yes, go to school, go to college, you know, you can do all of that just to be on the safe side. So if you have anyone in your family who's like, oh yeah, I'm going to guarantee be a artist or whatever, it's not a guarantee. But on the other side of that is, it's a lot of people make money off of drawing cartoons as adults. When I see this is like, why are you messaging? This crazy world. But I do get it. Your parents want you to get a good job before you know. But it's should always be a motivating factor because that person. I used to think about that with video games as well. Because I didn't get it, but I get it now because I see them with the tournaments and things like that. And I'm pretty sure that when you start out, you're probably not making a lot of money or whatever. And people who talk for a living, which I call YouTube, like that's a job now. And I respect you guys. I don't know how you get the. Well, I do know a little bit of how you get followers. So sometimes you buy them, and then you talk to the YouTube, um, and the people that are helping you on YouTube, which is great. They do that for free. I don't think they all it stays that way, but they will help you out. They will give you pointers. First thing they'll tell you to do is, hey, go on YouTube and watch all the videos about how people start their channel and what kind of lighting and if you're not gonna do anything where you're on camera, that makes it a lot easier. But I respect you YouTubes because having a lot of followers like that and all you're doing is talking for a living, it's got to be a great job. Just talking for a living is crazy by itself. So, but I hope everyone finds a job that they like. A job where maybe you don't think it's a job, you know? I wish that for everybody. I do think I went over like people were asking about how is it yeah, my job, I'm not my job is not animation. Yeah, that's not what my job is more technically you could say it's on the production side of things, but basically just coming up with different ways uh, to set up scenes and things like that. I'm not like an animator like that, where you know the animation that we do, it really doesn't have to do with characters. It really has to do with the scene, like the background and stuff like that. And sometimes it's separate, sometimes it's not. Just depends on the job and also the company, and then also I think I went through this before. The people that you're working with. It's not, if you are a writer, um, I would just say, like, if you're good at doing one thing, you might get pigeonholed doing that one thing. So, and it's not, how do I say? It's not easy to do what I do, because you could be replaced very easily. That's the only part that I don't like. Or if someone's like, oh well, I don't get it, well, for me that really doesn't happen, but there's a lot of times where you can be in an environment where someone just doesn't like your ideas, or they might not like you, and a lot of that's going to be, you know, determined if you have a job sometimes. Most of the time, if you are working with people that you've worked with before, that's probably the like, I would say, the safest uh, job, right? Because you kind of have a routine. Um, you know, maybe it's a friend where you don't really have to worry about certain protocol. Oh, you have to be here at this time. It's like, as long as you come up with, good ideas, you know, that's all I really have to do. Is it fun? No, not in the way that most people think. It can be after you see a finished product, like after something's done. But if you're not like the person fully in control with what's happening, uh, it's it's not really your idea, because you basically, when you pitch something to them, and for us it would be, like, setting up a car scene, and the way that it's animated. What are things that could be done in a car scene, all right? And whenever you see on the page where it says, I don't know what, I can't really say that. So, Christian drives from the gas station to the house, right? That's all it'll say. And that would be part of the job. And that sometimes what'll happen is, you'll basically write, you'll see the writer, he'll write that, and now when we start the animation, there's a million things that you can do for a driving scene, right? Is this scene going to be funny? What can we do from the ride from the garage to the house if it's a funny scene, right? And I'll just give some stuff that you've probably seen a million times over and over again. And this is the part of the job that probably not something I like, right? So the person that's in control is going to come and say, okay, what can we set up for this? Okay, we'll have the reflection from the mirror. Let's have the character look in the mirror first. Look in the rear view mirror first, right? Right. What does he see? What color is the interior of the vehicle? Is it at night? Is it in the day? Okay, if it's in the day, we have to have a scene set up where there's sun reflections. How we're gonna make that play? Oh well, we can have the sun reflect off the front hood of the car, maybe the front ornament of the car, right? If it's at night, we have a amber glowing yellow blinker lights, right? And maybe the character's sitting in the car, and then you see a little reflection of the stoplights reflecting off not only the car's glass, but also a little bit on the character's face, right? Um, so there's a million different things that you would think up to set up a scene. And sometimes what will happen is you'll get a person that comes, like the person that's maybe above you, right? This is the person that's going to be approving, okay, that's good, that's not good, right? This is a person that maybe they like to see things like that, certain things over and over again. So if you ever see a animation and you see a scene where, hey, the guy's driving from the gas station to the house. Okay, maybe he's behind a chicken truck. Now I've seen this chicken truck scene, I don't know many times. Even if it's in a child's cartoon, right? That's the thing they always look for whatever reason. We have to have feathers flying all over the place in front. Let's put the feathers blocking the view of the character. Right? How many times have you seen this? And that's the part that's not fun. Because we could be, or I say we, not only me, but you can have a couple people that are, setting up the scene and what we're going to be paying attention to, what the reflector is going to look like, what color are the rims, what color is the garage door, all of those different things that I put together, right? So imagine you do this whole thing. You're like, okay, this is going to be great because no one's ever seen this before. We've already seen the chicken with the feathers, right? We've already seen the traffic scenario. Oh, there's a slow truck in front of the car. They love to do there's a slow truck in front of the car, and the guy's in a rush. He's trying to get home. He's beeping the horn. So maybe he turns a little bit into the other lane to see if he can see around the truck, and then maybe he almost gets hit by another car, or maybe it's a motorcycle. How many times have you seen this? Right? So sometimes what you'll see is like a lot of the stuff that if you're working on, say it's a big movie company, we'll just say that, right? They have all kinds of things that are already loaded up in the computer that they've saved. So if that person, which I always like to call the second money person, comes in, that's what he's thinking about. He's not thinking about the scene. So when you see the same things over and over again, right? Maybe it's a different color this time, but it's the same thing, right? They've already marked it out where the wheels are gonna screech here. We can use that sound effect. Yeah, we've used it on the other one, but let's make it a little bit lower tone, right? This is them saving money. This is them like, and then, which sometimes I understand, because setting up a whole nother thing is like, okay, now you gotta, it's a lot of work. I'll just say that, all right? But what do you do? Everyone, the person making this, maybe it's an hour, 30-minute animation that's gonna be going on some, like the things you see on YouTube. Hey, Frenchie goes, loses his dog, whatever it is, right? A lot of people make money from doing scenes like that over and over again. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna complain about it, or you're just gonna do it? Because you, it's not just you eating, right? A lot of people eat off of these things, right? So the money guy comes in and he says, "Hey, what can we use that we already have in the computer?" First thing you're gonna think. So when you watch these animated features and you see that same scenario over and over again, that's what that is. They're saving money. They've already got it mapped out where you don't have to do a lot of work. Right? We already know where the road turns, and we can put that in there, right? We got that. We got the trees. Maybe we'll just change the trees, but not too crazy, right? All of those steps, that's money. The longer it takes for us to come up with a scene, right? And sometimes they'll be like, "Oh well, we don't need you to do that. We just need you guys to do, set this up, right?" And it gets to the point where they keep using that whatever you come in and be like, "Okay, we're gonna set this up. Okay, great, set that up," and then when they save it in the computer, right? So why do they need you again? Why would they like you if they have enough of those scenarios, right? Or if they can get an like some kind of AI, right? You can't really do it with AI because most of the stuff it's they're not going to win an Oscar for some of these things, and some of them they don't care. But what I'm starting to see over and over again is like, okay, yeah, set this up, right? We set up the colors, we color the car, the rims, the reflection. Okay, this time he's gonna curve in the road. He's gonna slam on the brake, right? He's gonna lean forward a little bit, almost hit his head on the steering wheel. All of those things, different scenarios. So if they can map out, or if you've mapped it out, and they've got like a lot of those mapped out in the computer, and they need to save money, they don't need you to come back and map it out because that's the same thing they're going to use over and over again. All right, so now we're saving money on not just you, or not just me, but also the animators, right? Because every scenario is set up in the computer already. So when you see these things over and over again, that's usually why. But a lot of people are that's the job, and that's the way they eat. So when you the process, is it fun? It's not when you keep doing the same thing over and over again, because you don't get excited about it. It's just something that you're doing. So that's why I want to change that. I don't want to keep doing these small features. Could be a goat character, could be a sheep character, whatever it is. They keep doing the same thing over and over again. And it drives me insane some days. Other days I get it because, gotta eat. But that part's bad because people that are creative, right? And you're not really able to create the way you want because it's not your company, and the budget is not just your budget, it's a budget of 40 people. And these are people that you see over and over again because you work with them on this, so they come back. If you're good, they'll keep calling you back. Person that's not a problem, doesn't make, any trouble, does the work, doesn't try to slack, you know, responsible, things like that. You just keep coming back to the same thing, but you just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Until you go not insane, but you're not motivated, right? So my goal is to change that and let them know, hey, maybe spend a little bit more money, but I guarantee you people are gonna know. I remember like Disney, like those big major companies. I just don't understand how they get away from understanding that. That's how you became successful by changing and doing different things. So I don't know if it's just me. I'm just rambling, but I'm tired of watching the same stuff. Like every time, uh, and you could tell it's like any fresh series, anything different, right? Anything that's is not. Oh, okay, this again. I think that's why people were really excited for Arcane when it came out, because like, oh, this is. Thank you for giving us something different. But pay no attention to the rambling idiot. So yeah, that's why it's not, you know, fun. Could be. Sometimes we get lucky. Somebody that comes in there. Usually it'll be like a tech person that's if they're funding it. But again, you also don't have control. Like the most people that if they want to do something, they want all the creative control. Um, but again, that comes down to financing because when you come to them with something new, it's like, oh, now we have to get the engineers to draw up a whole nother road series, all right? And oh, well, this road can't be dark gray black. You want it to be red, like it's some kind of French location. That's gonna take them mapping that out from scratch. You have that money? And it's not cheap, but it would be fun. I think that's like the guys that are doing Arcane. Like I know they're having fun with that. And a lot of times I don't complain because could be doing a lot of other things. I don't know how to describe it. How would I describe that? I don't know. How would I? I guess it would be like if you're playing a video game and you're just stuck on this one level. and you beat the level over and over again, right? But this is the only thing. That's what it's like. Okay, we already beat it 100 times. Let's do 4,000. Let's do that. So that would be the feeling. I guess I would say it is. But again, a lot of people do a lot of different other jobs that are a lot harder. So, it's one of those things. Can't remember what that saying is they say about being in someone else's shoes as far as a job, right? Alright, I think we played around with this enough. Let me just do this one part here. And let's leather it up a little lighter. And let's do that wine leather. Christmas gift ideas. I remember back in the day, I would say like money was what I really liked. But I think you can't go wrong with like gift card for some place, like especially Amazon. Most people will be happy with that. But then when you do, oh, you didn't put any thought into this. Yeah, I would say Amazon would probably be the best bet. And others is like, oh, sometimes people are gonna replace it anyway. So, yeah, I would stick with Amazon. I haven't figured out what the chat, and I think when I'm doing that, I have to be tapped into YouTube for them to talk like that. No, I think you have to be. I know there's probably a way to do it, but I haven't figured it out yet. No, YouTube is brand new. Oh, and the other one, that one I think it's no. On that one it's 3,000. On YouTube, I know I haven't used it. I set it up a long time ago, so it's probably I don't know. It's probably 12 on YouTube. Followers on YouTube. Well, no. Yeah, that's the way I'm gonna do it. I mean, I'm still gonna send the link to the other one, but yep, that's the way I would be able to prove it. If I put it up there, it's like people will watch it, but I don't think they're gonna be like, oh well. I, no, I'm not joking. 12, maybe. I'm joking a little bit. It's probably about 50. Oh, for the link? Yeah, well, yeah, I'll probably do it next week. I don't even. I don't think the people on YouTube would be. Oh, really? Okay. Well, learn something new. When did I set it up? I think I set it up in 2000. It was a while ago. 2000 and something. No, I would have did. Yeah, but I mean, who knew? Like YouTube was just a place you just put videos. It wasn't really like a marketing. Or maybe I was dumb and I didn't look at it as marketing. But yeah, I get it. No, what I think it should have did was just kept making a video every day. Because the people that did that, um, when YouTube wasn't even a thing like that, those are the people with a lot of followers. Mm, no, I just think it wouldn't matter what it is. Everyone, a lot of, I think people are playing catch up now because people are like, oh well, just have your channel. But the people that were doing it like that was every day, and I remember a couple of them. Now they have millions of followers, and I don't think it was because they were doing anything special. I think it's because they were the only ones, and they were making a lot of videos. I don't, yeah, but I don't even remember music being on there like that. I think I remember when I first saw it, where it was like they had that. No, I would see it, but I mean, I would see music videos, but it wouldn't be from the people like, uh, yeah, not like the people like were posting it. What is that thing they call? Um, when did I see it? No, no, no. It was the first time I started seeing that VEVO. That's when I think it changed. Because I remember seeing videos on there, but it wasn't uploaded by the person who or the star or whoever made it. I remember it being like, yeah, and that's when I remember seeing it after that. No, everyone I used to see on there that was just making videos over and over. Like I remember the guy that was doing the movie reviews. Like I think he was the only one that was really doing it like that. And then you would see another guy that was doing video games. Um, but there wasn't 1,000 of them doing that because they were only one. Those were the only one on there, and their stuff was good. When I say good, I mean I can't think of anything that. Yeah, I'm trying to think like who was on there, but they weren't like good. I don't remember that. Yeah, I don't remember any of that. No, I remember just people putting on there like. No, it was. I mean, you seen some of those videos, but it wasn't like. I'm trying to figure out who were the people that were posting that. I don't know. I mean, you would have to go to Wikipedia to see where that changed. I remember when it changed, and that's when I started seeing like the music videos. They started having that stamp, that VEVO stamp. No, no, yeah, yeah. But you're talking about like alternatives. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nah, that's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. No, cause yeah, but I think G4 TV was on there on YouTube early. Yeah, and then I remember there was a from G4. No, they had the cable channel, but they were also online. And I remember that I think the G4 guy that was there split, and he started doing just things on Windows PCs and stuff like that, and software and how to do X, Y, and Z. I remember that. No, they were there early because I remember seeing like I don't know if it was exactly the same videos, but no, it was way before then. Yeah, but there wasn't commentary like that where everyone has a channel now. They're doing commentary. It wasn't like wide open like that. No, not news. No. Oh, you're talking about the yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because it was obscure stuff. It was like I don't even remember seeing a lot of crazy stuff on there, but yeah, I would say go to Wikipedia, find out what first made them popular. But I want to remember. I want to say it was yeah, like G4 TV. I remember. I remember. Hold on a second. So on this video, I am going to be showing you how to rig this left arm for YouTube. If you have any questions on any steps, you can send it to NIIIATREC at gmail.com. And if you have any questions about what we're doing and steps, things like that, just go ahead and send it there. If you have any questions about any puppet tools or anything like that, also you can send it there as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this arm down in 3 different sections. So we're going to have this first part, which is the upper arm. Next we are going to have, we're going to cut this right about here, like so. And you don't have to get it exact, just close enough to where you don't really see any. Like so. And we'll go ahead and cut that right about here. So we'll cut this piece out like so. right now we should have 3 different pieces. Let's see. So we have this part of the arm. Next is this part. And then lastly, sure we got the right one. So right about there. So we'll cut this right about here. And it could have a small piece from the other arm as well, so it'll overlap without any gaps. So you don't have to do it too close. Like so. And then let's go ahead and move this glass out of the way. So get this out of here. Like so. And let's go ahead and this back part here we don't really need to worry about because it's going to be on the glass will be on top. Alright, so and let's fix the fingers a little bit. And again, you can do this in the vector tool if you like. And so and that one. And so fingers as far as the glass like this. And then we are going to we'll leave the glass separated by itself. So we'll cut this here. Oops, too much. And right now we don't have to really worry about the liquid, but we will be turning this into liquid. And you don't have to worry about anything too crazy here because we will be turning these into vectors. Alright. It's good enough for now. Play around with it a little bit more later. So, there we go. That one there. And there. And alright, so we have our first part of the arm, second arm there, third part of the arm, and then the glass, right? So all of these will be separated out. So we're going to move these pieces into Inkscape, and that's for me because that's where I keep all the scenes and breakdowns and stuff like that. Alright, there we go, got the arm. Alright, next piece is here. Like so. And paste here like so. And next will be the hand. And on YouTube, I will be putting the timestamp again because that was in a chat before. So, but this is where all the information you'll need about how to set it up. Anything I said before this video, don't have to worry about any of that. And then lastly, the glass. And we'll just be playing around with this as like a rough kind of draft for the scene. And edit, copy. Edit, paste. Alright. So, and you can line it up if you like, just to make sure everything's where you want it to be. So one piece here, this goes here, this goes here, like so, and then lastly the glass, of course. Okay. And now on this chest part here, I'm going to grab just this piece. Well, I guess I could show you. So we'll come back here. And we're going to go ahead and grab this piece like so. Do I want this other part for the neck? You know what? Let's fix that. Alright, so we're going to grab this here without the neck part. Alright. And edit, copy, and paste. So, so it's out there. All right. So keep this over here. And we'll have to fix that. And so this, edit, copy, edit, paste. And we'll just clean this up a little bit here. And this doesn't have to be perfect, so we're going to be using it just for the effect. Okay. copy, and then edit paste. What did we just do? Cut, edit copy, and then edit paste. Alright, there we go. So, we don't need this one here. We'll cut that out. And what we'll do here, we're going to export all of these pieces. Alright, so let's go ahead and export this piece here. And the head. And then all these pieces separately. Export this piece here. Export this piece here. And the glass. And I think, did I do the head already? Let me see. Export. Yep. Cancel. Alright, so. Alright, there we go. So now let's go ahead and what was this other one? What scene is this? Oh, I remember walking. Alright. So let's go ahead and add that other piece. I can't remember. And undo. Copy. Inkscape is free. I use it like a storyboard. Because I can save once I vectorize everything. Okay, so it's 8. And this one is 9. Get everything where we need it to be. So backdrop for 7. And so 4. Okay, so this is 9. So okay, this one here. This is going to be the rough, but I'll show you what you can do here, because all of these are going to be kind of rough. Alright, so if you want to clean this up a little bit, you can go here and then go to the trace bitmap, and I'll say this has about 5 colors. So I'll go to path, and then you could click on trace bitmap. So whenever you click on this one here, it says remove background. It's going to remove anything that's white from the image. So let's go ahead and do one without doing remove background, and I'll show you that real quick. So just click on this item here, and I'm going to do 8 scans. In Inkscape you can change these settings, but 8 scans and then 8 colors is segmented in. So I'm going to think, I don't know, maybe that for me is going to be 5 colors all together. And smooth is, I'll show you that one in a second here. So then I just click OK. So if you notice, I did not remove the white from the image, right? Alright, so it gave me 5 different colors. One was the, I can't see the white background. Let's do something where we can see it. Okay. Let's move all this other junk out the way. So remember, this was our original image, and so I guess that all of these combination of different colors would be 5. So when you raise this up, what it'll do is it'll give you, it'll break it down even further. But I don't really need it to be broken down further. So now what we'll do is we're going to go do the same thing we did here, but this time we're going to put remove background, and we'll keep the colors. Let's go ahead and up it just to show. We'll go to 7 different colors here. It's our PNG. Click OK. Alright, now you see there's no white background that's associated with this one that we created. Alright, and then of course it should have 7 different colors. And it's just basically trying to find all the different colors here. That's what it's doing when you select that one. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I missing one? Okay. Maybe there was only 6 combined. And so you can see the difference here in the clarity. So this is our vector one, of course, and this is our old one. And you can see the difference quality as far as visually. And then what we would do here is go ahead and fill this in. Make sure you close any gaps, because if you don't, it won't use paint bucket correctly. So just close all the gaps here. Like that. Okay. So what you can do is you can trace this to make it as close as possible, but we're going to be using fill, so we're not going to do it that way. So let's go ahead and get this like so. Okay. And we're just basically moving space so we can use the paint bucket fill tool. Now if you look at these lines, all of these lines here is what you want to map up here. So you can see here it's a little bit darker in this area, right? Which is technically this part. If you see the outline, check for the outline here, which is pretty good for us, the outline. All right, see this big thick part, which is this here. And now if you want, you can always come in here and you can change this to a different color, which can kind of help you if you want to get it really close to your PNG. You do like this and then just change the color, right? And then bring the opacity down a little bit, like so. And alright, so then you can see all the lines here. Let's make sure a little bit brighter. Alright, so if you come in, you can see where all your lines are if you want to do it this way, and you can just match it up as close as you like. Alright, like so. So if you want it to kind of match it up a little bit better, see where this black line here is, you can just make those adjustments. So alright, and if you wanted to add this line here, which is not necessary, but you can. Right about there. Alright, there we go. So then let's go ahead and get this back to black. Alright. So now when we come in, we can start to fill everything in. So if we look at this here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the paint bucket fill like so, and then I can match up that color like that, and then we can just bring this in here like that. Okay. So we want to put this, make sure there's no outline here. Just click on, send it to the bottom like so. So then we can use the paint bucket fill tool again, like that. And then match that one up as well with this, like that. So then we get to these, little pieces here. You can sometimes use the fill tool for that. So that piece would go here, right? Take that below everything. And my nodes for this is a lot higher than it needs to be. Just cut those out. Let's make this a little bit larger. There we go. So remember, all of these are going to be underneath, right? So whenever you do get your shading and everything the way you like it, and use bucket again, and then just match this color here, just darker gray. Like that. And what we can do is we can drag this dark gray. So if we look here, dark gray here, dark gray here. Kind of fill this in this way here. Like so. Right? And remember, again, if you want to come and use this to kind of match it, you can. We're not going to go too crazy on here. And if we look at these color pieces, we can kind of use the fill tool there as well. And then get this color here. And make sure, put it below the outline. Like that, and you can just fill the pieces up. Like so. And it's up to you. You can get it as sharp as you want. So if I look at this piece here, make this a little bit straighter. Whenever you take out nodes, it should automatically straighten up for you. So I'll cut these out here, like that. And make sure all these gaps kind of filled in. There we go. Like that. Now, if you want to make this a little bit thinner, you can just come on the outside and just bring everything in as close as you like. Because this would be the outline. Cut that corner. Okay. Now, whenever you do the outline, the reason why I'm saying you can do it that way and bring this a little bit further, it's up to you, because this is going to be a thin outline here like that, and you want to kind of make sure that matches all the way around. And because a lot of that you can play with the shading later. So if you want to come in and do any kind of shading or change anything, you can use the fill tool again. So if you want to find an area you want to make a little bit lighter, just use the blur effect. as we like, or as long as the length. So when you do it like this, where there's no like blend, it'll just look like a like a really sharp, like kind of cartoon uh, visual. And if you want to kind of fade that away, you can use the blur. And even if you did this, you know, these pieces here, if you want to fill that in or change it for the highlights, you can do that as well. And you can use the blur. For the blending part. So this here, whenever you start blending and you don't want it to make it look this sharp or clean, that's what you can do to kind of fix that. And just in colors the same way. So on this one, if I wanted to have it shine at the bottom, choose whatever tool you want to do, but you kind of keep playing around with it. So where we want those curves to be. And then you'll just fade that in. So now if we want this to change, make sure this is low. So if you wanted to make this darker, you have that ability to do it that way as well. Or if it still looks too sharp, you can use the blur, kind of blend it in. But on this, doesn't matter. I want to kind of keep all that stuff kind of sharp. I don't want that there. And keep checking just to make sure it's underneath the outline. It doesn't have to be perfect. So that's how you would vectorize all your pieces there. And we don't need these other ones. If you do keep these, sometimes I'll keep them. And so if there is some kind of like curve or anything like that, or you need a shadow piece, you can kind of use that. So we just group everything here. So you'll see whenever you do all the pieces how it'll look a lot cleaner. And compared to alright, so on the outline you can kind of tell how so it's just a lot cleaner look. And if we did try to showcase this on the other side, whenever you do export these, you can change that pivot point where you need that angle to be. So if you look at the joint, it should technically be right there. And you can check it as well, because technically it's not going to be bending like this, but so on this one here, I would say move it a little bit up for these different angles. And we don't have to worry about how close this needs to be because we'll fix it in MOHO. But what I want to try to do is make sure I yeah, looks right. So you see a different quality there. shut it one last time. And we'll just export this one. Alright, so we'll bring this into MOHO real quick. Alright, so just find our pieces. And remember, we're just doing the one arm. So this piece here, this one here. The wine glass. And I think that was it, right? And it's that piece here. And there we go. Alright, so we have all our pieces. First, let's go make a group. Like that. And we can start labeling these. It's only 4 pieces, so it's up to you if you want to label them all, but I'm going to label these. Okay. Alright, so class. And this one, just call it H. And when I do the arm pieces, I just label them either if it's a left or right arm. And I'll count from the shoulder. So you have the shoulder, and then the mid part of the arm, and then the hand. So this, since there's 3 pieces here, this would be, let's put right, and this will be 2, because from the shoulder I count as 1, and then the mid arm 2, and then the hand is 3. So find the hand real quick, and click right and 3, and then this is right 1. This is an extra one here. Oh, okay, yeah, this was, so you could see the difference in quality. So right 2. All right. Makes a big difference. All right, so we got that, and we'll get rid of that because I just wanted to show you the different versions, how clean the other one looks. We'll just remove. So we should have from the shoulder right 1, right 2, and 3. So shoulder being number 1 is the first one. Just make sure we can change this pivot point, and which is this little plus here. So we want to push this right where the angle will be. Right, so right there, and just check it to make sure. Right, so that's where we want the so for me that would be a little different, right? So see, right about here, and it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do to kind of fix that other piece. So that'll be there. Head goes like so, and then the glass. So let's get right number 2, and we'll change, make sure the pivot point's right where you want it. Should be right about there. And we'll go here. And for me, this one here is going to be on top of this one, like so. Right, and it's a little bit lower, right about there, let's see. All right. And then 3, which was the hand. So it's your choice with this one, because once you vectorize this, you can put it on top, but this just be a rough draft. And then the glass, the last piece here. And that should be on top of that, like so. And again, we only have one vector, so it looks really grainy and bad, but just for the point of setting up the bones. Okay. Is that an extra piece too? Yep. Delete that. Oh, forgot the chest part. Alright. Let's get that chest part. And we'll export that. Alright, there we go. And what is this one? This is back ground. I'll just put back and then G. And so we need to pull in our chest part, edit. So, okay. And just make sure this is on top of everything. Like so. And again, when you get the vector, it'll look a lot cleaner. Like that. So on the head part, chest. So right now we're going to go ahead and put them all in the same group together. So which is this one, and we'll just call this PQ. And when you hit the shift here, you can just hit shift and then grab them all like that, and we'll put them into the PQ layer like so. So everything should disappear, just to check on it. Alright. Okay, so the next part here is we would isolate the head. And we didn't do a cutout of the head, but that's okay. So what we'll do is create another group. And we're going to just call this face. And go ahead and put this head into that group there. And that'll be for something we do later. For the head part, make sure the pivot point is at the base of the neck. So when you do check it, just make sure it's there, like that. And for the chest part, we'll create another group. And we can name this one body top. And we'll put the chest piece in here. And we're also going to create a vector. Before we do that, make sure so if we look at this, the chest is inside, and we're going to add in a vector. And vector. And let's call it N. Make sure it's in the same layer as the body top parts. Like so. So then we'll come here to create a vector. Let's make it a triangle. I'm sorry, a triangle, square. Like so. Change that color. On this pivot point, you want it to be below as well, so right about there. And what we'll do is we're going to add some other nodes here, and you'll just click this add points. We'll add 2 there, 2 there, up. Alright. And we'll kind of move this around a bit. Make these thinner. 0.5. We're just changing this edge. It's too thick. You do that here. So we'll add a couple more nodes here. Again, if this was vector, you would be able to kind of see this sprung out a little bit. And we gotta change that a little bit more. So and we're you can't even see the shading on here, but that is what needs to be done, because it'll look strange right now because there's no shading in the other part. You can add the shading to this, so if you want to, you can add another vector. And come over here, do on this, you can do a circle if you want to add shading on the circle. So I'll make this a little bit. Bring this down, let's say about 40. Alright, yeah. So, and then, so if you're using this for, you just want to shade, of course, this bottom part here. And you would just add more nodes where you need them to be for your shading. So if you wanted to maneuver around the head or neck, You can just move it how you like there. And again, when you want to add nodes to it, just click here, then add some more points, and this will allow you to kind of flex it around you want, how you like. You can't really tell again because it's not vector, but once you vectorize the every piece of this, you'll be able to see, it'll look a lot cleaner. You'll be able to see the difference. Alright, so I think we have everything. So we have the face part, which is here, body, which is, it's called this shade. Alright, so we have the background piece. We have the, let's fix this. We'll call this hand instead of R3. And we got the glass, the arm. Alright, so everything's inside. So let's check, make sure. Alright, great. So for this, you'll basically change this to a bone later, and right click, and then click here where it says convert to bone. And we can start adding bones by click on here. And first bone we're going to add is going to be like the stomach area, so just one piece here, right about where the chest starts, another one right here. So we should just have two. Alright, so just these two here. Alright. So then we're going to add another one here. I think that's right about where the angle should be. Right there. So then we'll have another one here. And another one right where that pivot point we're going to go over, make sure they're all aligned. We'll have another one here, and another one for the hand, and one here for the glass. Like so. Alright. So we have this one here, which is the stomach. This part here will be the chest. This part here will be the chest, and like the shoulder area. This one here should be for the arm, then the forearm, and then the hand, and then finally the glass. Alright, so we're going to go back here and add the bone for the head, and we'll go ahead and click here. Alright, then we'll add another bone, like so. Alright, so those are all the bones you're going to need. So one for the stomach, this one here for the chest, this one here for the chest, this one here for the shoulder area, then arm, forearm, hand, and glass. So that's all the ones we're going to need. Alright, so bring all of these things back. And once you get everything vectored, it will be the same way, same matchup. So what we have to do is start associating all of these pieces with our bones. So we click here where it says face, and click here where it says use all. Oh, that's not the right one. Okay, there we go. Alright, and then you click on the head, and then click here, it says use select bones for flex binding. Click that, like so. Now we're going to go to this background piece is going to be the bottom part, right? And what we do here is select this bone here, alright, and this one here, background, and we'll use selected bone flex binding. Alright, click on this bone here, and I'm going to add a couple another ones here. So we're going to click shift, and then we're going to click on so we click shift, we're going to click on this one as well, and then this one, like so. So 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go ahead and go back to where this layer says the body layer, and then this chest piece, like so, and we're to click on use selected bone flex binding. Alright, so these three will be associated with this chest part here. And then next one is this bone here, and this is going to be for the first part of the arm, which is here. We'll click on this, and then we're going to click on use selected bones again. Alright, then go to the next bone, which is here, and then that's the forearm, which is right arm 2, and we'll go use selected bone again for that. Then we'll go to the hand, and on this one here we're going to do 2 bones. So we're going to click on shift and then click this here like so, and then go to hand. Make sure you unshift that before you choose hand. Alright, go to hand, and then again bone, you selected bones, the ones we selected for the hand, and then the last part, which is the glass, which is here. And we're going to select this bone, and then we're going to use, go back here again, and then use selected bone for flex binding, like so. And I think that's all of them. Make sure. I think that's all of them. So once we start messing around with this here, let's go ahead and go to, I don't know, 4 seconds here. We're just going to put a little dot right there, and another dot, go to 192, and then just click like so. So if we start kind of manipulating the arm here, we're going to see how those changes are. So once we click back on this bone layer at the top, we can start playing around to see how the bones will work together. Remember, this is the shoulder chest part, right? Right. This part was also associated with the chest, right? This part here was also associated with the chest, right? The head is separate, like that, right? This neck part, the reason why you see that moving the wrong way, because we didn't associate that with a bone. So if we go back, make sure we go back to 0, right? And we go back to the bone, we'll go ahead and do that neck part, which is this vector here. And both of these are going to be the same. So if we click on this neck and then shift and then click on the shade, before we do any of that, let's go select the correct bone first. Alright, so the correct bone is going to be here. Alright, so I think we'll do both of these pieces. So 1, 2. We'll leave just one for now. So if we click on this bone here, we'll go over to shade. No. Alright, we'll click on shade, and then we're going to click shift, and we'll click on the neck, and then both of these will go associated that with that bone. So use selected bones for flex binding. Alright, so that should fix our neck piece. So we move our head, that should be separate, like so, right? Remove the chest part. Now you see it associated with everything that it needs to be associated with. Don't worry about the movement here, because we'll fix that later. When we move our shoulder here, play around with that. Alright, we got that piece, like so, right? Then the arm, and this forearm piece. And hand. And if we go to change these angles, we'll probably change the association with that because of the way the glass is kind of acting weird. Alright, so when we associate these parts, wherever these joints are is where you want to match everything up. So if I go to the chest, oh no, let's go to the arm. So let's go to R1, right? So if we look at R1, isolate that and move. Alright, so if we go to this arm, right, this pivot point, which is this, should be aligned with this. So we click right where this point is, let's see what that did here. Alright, and you would do that with all of them, wherever you want to move that point. So if I go to the 2, which is this bone here, right? Let's move that. So right arm. So if we check our pivot point for that, see it's here, but we want to put it right here where that point is. Alright, so if we go back and check that one for the bones, and on this you can move it around, you can make sure this is in place. So if we look at this angle, technically it should be here. So if we didn't have to move the bones, just go here, and you can make adjustments where you need them. So if technically if this is the elbow, right, elbow right about there, right? And we can move these where we want them as well. Make the hand. So if we look at that the movement will uh, get this out of the way. We don't need that. There we go. So if we look at the movement here, right, and you're trying to make that the elbow part, you can do it that way. So if we go back and make any adjustments, you can do that any way you like, right? So if we needed to move that arm piece, let's go to arm piece, right? So if you wanted to move these angles or change the angles, you can do that by doing it with the actual image or the bone, right? So I click this back here. Now you see how everything's like off. So that's why you always use the manipulation here to make changes on however you want it to look. So if we want to make adjustments there, we can change these any way we like, and we can make the adjustments as we like. Alright, so I'm going to remove all these animations for a whole thing. Let's see the bones. So when you erase all the bones, it'll just start everything over, right? So whatever adjustments you want to make, you can do that in this way. Once I do the vector for this one, we'll go over, well, I guess we can go over it now when you make adjustments to the bones. So if you look how rigid that joint is here, the way you would change that, so we'll go to this piece here. But when you go in here and you look at all the different things, the one thing you want to make sure you can use where it says warp using bones, right? If you unclick, show you how that looks there. So if we go back to the bones, now see how the first arm's not moving. Alright, so if we go back, which is arm 1, and we go back to warp using bones, apply, okay. So there we go. So there you go. I will go over the pin parts to where you won't see this joint here. You can use a patch, but there's different ways you can add things to that. So if I wanted to kind of button this one down, And let's go to right there. Now the bones, they have all different types of things you can change. So let's go ahead and look at a couple things. So whenever we click on this here, it's going to show you the strength of the bones, right? So when you click on that, we go in here, you're going to see this change on all these different bone parts. So the bigger it is, the more it'll have an effect on the whole area. So we'll make these a little bit smaller for all of them. Like so. And this one. When it's green, it just means that you haven't associated with it, you haven't chose the right one. So just go through all of these. And find the right one here for this one. Which one is this? Weird. There we go. Alright, so again, the higher you make this, the more it'll have effect on the surrounding areas. So let's see what changes happen after we did that. Okay. Not as much movement, right? So if we go back here and you start doing those adjustments, it'll make it a lot easier to kind of move these pieces without everything moving. And the reason why we're not gonna mess with this now, there's a way that we can pin this down. So basically you would just put a pin like right here and then one here, and then when this moves, this piece here will stay in place. It'll just stretch instead of, you know, you seeing that wide open space here. So we will go over pins later. And then same thing here. Basically what you would do is you would put a pin right here and pin right here. So then when we did move up the arm, it would just stretch from this point to this point. There would be no little gap. Same thing there. So we'll mess around with that next time whenever we do the liquid for the glass and things like that. So I think that's all we're going to do for this particular part. Let me see. Opening up the other one. Did I want to do that? Okay, so on the walking one. So say I wanted to have a close-up, and I just want to show it right from here. So if you're trying to make sure this is in the right point where he doesn't look like he's flying above the tree, let's go back to scratch and this part here, and so even at that angle, let's see here. All right, so and what you would do is keep making those adjustments until it looks correct. So if I okay. Before I do that, let me clear this out first. All right, there we go. So wherever the angle is going to be, you want to try to find that first. So if we have the character here, let's see, kind of check out the angle. Move it. So if we look at this path here where the angle is, kind of gets this Z line. It looks like right about there, right? So if we're doing the close-up, that's the part we want to pay attention to. So let's see here. So the image would be moved around the character. Character is staying still, but we use the background to do the movement, right? So let's see. Alright, so there let's go ahead and pick a starting point for the background. Okay, like so. Clear this out. Okay. So our path or angle, we're going to set this pivot point here. So the pivot point for the image, right? See where that's at. Alright. Alright. So then we check the pivot point for the character. That should be here, right? Okay. Now, the character is in the walking cycle. So now if we look at the angle of where we want it to be, right? It should be right about there where we would be making the movement, right? So let's go back to the background and let's see if we can play with this a little bit. Let's make a starting point. And there we go. So I'll say here. So I just made a starting point here for the background. So that'll be for here, right? So now let's kind of move it and see what happens, what angle we get. Alright, so close up and move it. Alright, let me check this. So, alright, so let's move it again and see what happens there. So on this, to make it not as fast, you would just basically change so angle to now way too fast, right? So this would be that point here. You would just basically take this point and just move this. And take this end point here for the background. And you can move this as long as you want because we're just tracking the character at this point.
Nobody's gone viral. Nobody's gotten beat up in the club yet. Like, unless I missed it. Nah, they had
DC
Canada
is running a tight ship. You should be knowing the body's live.
Didn't it just happen in Canada recently? Oh no, that was Drake.
So this angle should work. Let's see. So on the angle, you can also, I say, make an adjustment as well. Before I do that, if you're just experimenting on how you want it, everything to look, what you can do here is, in a way, you can create a backup. So for our background, I am going to just duplicate it. So if we do kind of go too far as the way we want it to look, we'll have that backup just in case. So technically, if you're looking at the way this angle is, right, and we want the character to kind of be walking down the path, couple things. You could do a kind of shift the angle a little bit. By stretching or upping. So if I want the character to kind of go down this path, right? So from here going to this little piece of the path right there. They have different ways that you can angle it. You can do that. or make sure the other side. So technically, if we're moving it to this side, we could make the adjustments once we get to the turning part. So if I was to and I'm just playing around with it for now. Just be careful. Alright, so even with the access, so if we move it to that, shifting the angle a little bit, right? Because when it's a close-up, you can't really tell until it starts to kind of move, right? And remember, the character is standing still. So right, so if we're using that angle, and also you can also pull from and make it larger as you go on. So if you do that, right, it'll give the illusion, you just got to be really close, it'll give the illusion as if he's walking down the path, because anything from here to there, all of these things will be technically getting larger, so to speak, right? So when you are trying to play around with the angles, you know, you could take your time. Like I said, you know, do backups, things like that, right? So if I go all the way down to the back part, I'll show one other thing here. So if we want to zoom in on it, you could also keep it slanted like this, and if it's close, you can't really tell. And if you enlarge it, it'll give you different dimensions of how big or small you want it to be. Right? And remember, it's just, you won't tell any difference. So let's show this one here. And this is without the camera so far, right? We're not zooming into the camera yet. Now, if you look at the angle, right? So say for instance, I just cut this clip out just for maybe a 3-second, right? Whatever angle that you are choosing, it's going to look different from either side. So whenever you start to pivot, right, looks like this expanded a little bit, right? Even though, again, the character's not moving. And pretty much that's how I would do it that way. And even if you go back and you start to shift those angles, you can use your centerpiece to where that pivot point's going to be, right? Same thing we did before. Right? So when you're shifting anything, when you start, placing these that pivot point, you start changing those. It's all kinds of adjustments you can make. You just got to make sure that it's a close up. Just got to make sure that it's kind of hidden in that way. So whatever you do, right? So if you looking at it, people say, oh well, it's illusion. No, right? We started over here. If you look at the regular image, which was this one, all right. So if we're looking at this one, all right. So if I push this to this side, meaning move it this way or this way, we can record that 3 seconds. So say for instance here, and then if we go ahead and create that clip, so a 3-second clip. Let's make sure we're close up. So if I have the short clip, and this character is larger or smaller based on the surroundings, even though the character is not moving, it's going to give the illusion of it is. So if you see, stop it right about there. So yep, okay. So if we look at if the character's here now, right? It looks like it's on a different path because we just changed the background and not the character, right? So if you're trying to do illusion where you're like, oh well, we're at the beginning of that trail, walking again at that angle, right? So look at this clip piece here, right? And if we switch it here, you see the difference between how close we are, right? Because technically right now, if we look at this place, this space here, so if you look at this area here, right, and it's a little bit smaller, what happens when you're doing the close-up like that, right? So now it looks like we've not only changed angles, but we're closer to this part here, which when you go back here, it looks like it's distant, right? So you can just use the angles to play around with it that way. And remember, the character's staying still, right? So again, if you're going to be using your the pivot point, right? So if we change the size of the character, it's also going to affect the illusion as well, right? Let me duplicate this. So And I'm just going to duplicate this just in case we mess up or we want to go back to the original. Just click that here like so, and we can kind of mess around with this extra one. Alright, so if we're doing the close-up again, right, we have this path that we want to create with just one image without, oh, we got to draw a whole nother image, right? We don't have to worry about doing it. All right, so if we go back and what will we do? We will just basically make this character smaller. So if we shrink the character here, no, I did the wrong one. There we go. Alright, so let's see how different, yeah. So if you're doing the opposite, right, and this image is basically here at the beginning of that trail, if you make it larger here, right, even though the character's standing still, if we make the change, and you can use the backup as a subtle, right, so those subtle changes, so right here, this part of the forest, we do this shot here, right, and we do the same movements for the other one. And again, we're just going by the illusion of what's already here, right? Okay. All right, so right there. So if we're using the, we're changing the size, right? So if we're looking at from this point, the only thing we would have to do here and these are all cut scenes, so 3 seconds, 3 seconds. So we do a 3-second walk with the big the first piece, right? 1, 2, 3. So basically starting here, right? So it's straight. You do the close-up like so. And technically this would be a little smaller, right? So 3 seconds. So 1, 2, 3. If we want a water shot and we're not moving the character, we're just moving the scene around the character, you'll be able to do that. And if you want to show the closer to this or farther away, when you do make those adjustments, just do like 3 seconds at a time, right? One second, there we go. Okay. All right, so which is this ending point. And make an adjustment. Let's take some of these out here, and you can keep playing with it until you get it the way you want it. So if we look at this long piece here without having to, draw something new as far as the background, we just use the different spots 3 seconds at a time to change that view. And so when you do clip it and mask it all together, as long as you're close up, it'll look like it's a change of scenery based on just the one image. And whatever how small you want to make it more congestive to see, make it feel like the rocks are a lot closer and it's a little narrow of a path. You can do that as well. Right? So if you look at this, it's not sprawled out. This looks like maybe turning a corner, but you can't really see what's around the corner. And then just keep playing around with it. Make sure we're close, right? So now maybe we turn that corner, and now we got that visual. Get it away. Okay. So now this looks like a different path. Even if you're looking at the trees to make these smaller or larger, as long as you're doing 3 seconds at a time, and then we do the walk sequence, and once you clip it together, you can make those adjustments as well. And that's just based on changing the angles. Sometimes it's a little crazy, but just depending on that. As long as the character's standing still. Right about there. And then in MOHO, you can take a snapshot to save just those pieces of the image you want. So if you're playing around with all these different angles, right, and you want to take a snapshot without the character in, just right. So if we take a snapshot of that, like so, right, then maybe we do an adjustment. All right, maybe we're a little bit closer in, so take a snapshot of that. All right, maybe we change this part and kind of change the dynamic on this one. I forgot it's the 3D one. Nope. Okay, there we go. All right, so all right, there we go. So now that tree is a little bit thinner, right? And then narrow path, so we can take this snapshot. After we take that one, if you go to zoom it in on the other side, so if we spread this down, so a little bit here, and we do the close-up for this shot. Alright, so say about right there. Right? Take a snapshot of this one, and then you can keep doing as many as you like. Remember, when you do the wide adjustment or the slanted adjustment, make sure you remember how that your first setup was all set up, so that you can match it together. So if we get closer to this tree, There we go. Make it smoother. I think that was the angle. Let's see. Go. And move this down. And remember, we change your pivot point just by clicking this. Click here. And it'll change it for you. And if I move it again, say I put it here. And right about there. Alright, so just gotta make sure this tree is sitting up the right way. Another pivot, change the angle. Here, then turn this like so. I think that was the one. There we go. No, angle's a little bit off. Didn't I change this one on the other side? Can't remember. What did it look like? Okay, so and this tree was further away. All right, so if we look at this compared to this, right? So if we're here, looks like it's got a close-up. So if we look at this one, when we do this close-up for this one, and you could use switches on this either way, it's up to you, right? Closer to that path, right? So, and again, you can do 3 seconds at a time. So if we look at this tree here, if we go back to the other image, see how it looks like it's distant? We got a close up here. And then, and remember, this right here is this right here, right? And you can do this with a lot of different, sometimes you use it if you have a spaceship in the scene or something like that. It's a good thing to use with the angles as well. Alright, so here, and remember, shrink or grow the character as well. Right, as long as it's standing in place, you can make it small or large as you like. And just make sure you always just do the close-up part 3 seconds at a time. Alright, I think that's it for this video. What was I going to do with the other one? Yeah, I think that's it. Alright, thank you very much for watching. I will go over switch layers on the next video. And if you have any questions, again, you can send it to NIIIATREC@gmail.com.